You have to admit that death can sometimes be around every corner, that no one can ever predict where this meeting will take place. In a warm home, on a dark and deserted street, or even, as unlikely as it seems to many, and Kenny Ong's story is one such exception. Is this really possible, you ask? How could a simple family dinner end in a brutal murder that shocks all Malaysians and prompts local authorities to review current legislation? Let's delve into this case. Full name of the heroine, Kenny Ong Lake Yang. Kenny was born in 1974 in the Malaysian city of Ipoh, a place known for its appeal to tourists. Despite this, Kenny dreamed of something else: prestigious work, travel, and all the aspirations of a young woman. She knew she had to strive for her dreams. Kenny graduated from high school with a gold medal and then went to university in Hawaii, earning a degree in economics. This was just the beginning, and she continued to push forward, moving to Los Angeles to work in an advertising agency. The City of Angels allowed Kenny to flourish as a specialist in her field. It was there, in 2001, that she met Brandon Ong, who was born in Singapore, but had moved to America as a child and was now considered an American. Kenny and Brandon married quickly and relocated to the nearby city of San Diego. Just 2 years into their marriage, tragedy struck. Kenny's father was diagnosed with liver cancer and faced a serious surgery in Malaysia. Unsure if he would survive, Kenny flew back to Malaysia on June 1st, leaving her husband in America. Fortunately, the surgery was successful and the disease receded. The doctors assured that B-Jen, Kenny's father, would live a long life and surely see his grandchildren. Relieved, Kenny prepared to return to her husband and job. Before leaving, Kenny organized a farewell dinner at their favorite restaurant, Monty's. During the dinner, Kenny's mom felt unwell, and Kenny offered to drive her home. In the parking lot, Kenny looked for a parking ticket in her purse but couldn't find it, assuming she left it in the car. She asked her sisters to watch their mother and ran to the car. When Kenny didn't return, her worried mother decided to go to the car herself, only to find both Kenny and the car missing. One of her sisters called Kenny's phone, but it was turned off. Knowing Kenny wouldn't disappear without a word, the family grew alarmed. Kenny's father asked the security guards to review the security footage. The video showed Kenny walking toward her car, checking her pockets and purse. But then a stranger appeared, following Kenny at a distance. Another camera captured Kenny's car, leaving the parking lot with the stranger driving and Kenny in the passenger seat, suggesting a kidnapping. The family called the police immediately. The Malaysian police acted swiftly. Within hours, a highway patrol officer spotted the car. To avoid alarming the potential kidnapper, the officer conducted a routine check. The driver, visibly nervous, handed over his license with a smile, while Kenny, in the passenger seat, tried to signal the officer. Unfortunately, the officer didn't understand her signals. Realizing this, the kidnapper, 27-year-old Ahmad Najib bin Aris, sped away. The police gave chase, but the car eluded them. Let me tell you a brief biography of Ahmad. Born in 1976 and raised in Muar, Malaysia, Ahmad. He was the second of 4 siblings in his family. Ahmad Najib studied until the 3rd year of secondary school before dropping out to work and support his family. He was known for being a hard worker. In 1998, he moved from Muar to Kuala Lumpur. Ahmad Najib later married and had 2 children. People who knew him described him as a man of good character and responsible in his work. Now, let's return to our case. After a while, it became clear that the police shooting at the car had some impact. A young man approached the police with a strange story. He recounted that while having dinner at a roadside cafe, an unknown man came up to him, claiming he was on vacation with his wife but had a flat tire Rio. The young man offered to help. They went outside, and the young man retrieved a jack from his trunk. He noticed bullet marks on the car and saw a frightened woman in the front seat, who hardly looked like a wife on a carefree vacation. The man, who claimed to be her husband, did not change the tire, but fumbled with the jack before handing it back. The police immediately realized it was Kenny and her kidnapper, Ahmad. Unfortunately, this was the last time Kenny was seen alive. Her body was found 3 days later in a sewer manhole near a construction site, almost entirely burned. The autopsy revealed that she had been stabbed several times in the stomach and later strangled. Near the construction site, police found Kenny's car with a punctured tire and bloodstains on the back seat. Despite having the killer's documents, the police went to Ahmad's address only after discovering the body. Surprisingly, Ahmad was at home, living his life as if nothing had happened. After Ahmad's arrest, forensic tests confirmed that Kenny's blood and Ahmad's DNA were in the car. In Malaysia, murders, especially such brutal ones, are extremely rare because the criminal code stipulates the death penalty for such crimes. Ahmad confessed and even cooperated with the investigation, hoping it would save him from the death penalty. At the trial, he claimed he mistook Kenny for another woman and realized his mistake only while driving with her. According to him, they laughed about the situation, and later, he attempted to have sex with her. He claimed Kenny consented and that the strangulation marks were part of her sexual fantasy, which led to her death. Ahmad said he panicked and decided to dispose of the body by setting it on fire. This story was fabricated by Ahmad's lawyers to reduce his charges to abuse of the deceased or negligent homicide. However, the presence of stab wounds in Kenny's abdomen shattered this defense. The investigation, supported by the autopsy, presented a different version. Ahmad saw Kenny alone in the parking lot outside Monty's restaurant, followed her, and threatened her with a knife. He forced her into the passenger seat and drove the car. After the encounter with police and the failed tire change, he drove to a deserted location, assaulted Kenny multiple times, stabbed her, and strangled her with a coat belt. He then disposed of her body in a manhole, covered it with tires, and returned the next day to burn the body with gasoline. It was later revealed that Ahmad had committed 4 other rapes, but his victims, fearing retribution, did not report them. This case shocked the nation and led to calls for stricter laws and better protection for victims. Finally, on February 23, 2005, after years of legal proceedings, the court sentenced Ahmad Najib. Alongside a long prison term, he was given 10 lashes. However, this verdict brought little solace to Kenny's parents, who had lost their daughter forever. From behind bars, Ahmad tried to appeal his sentence and even wrote a letter to Selangor, the head of state, pleading for a pardon, but he was denied. Justice caught up with Ahmad 13 years after Kenny's murder. On September 23, 2016, he was hanged in his cell. This case was highly publicized in Malaysia, not only due to the brutal nature of the murder, but also because of Ahmad's apparent belief in his own impunity. It revealed the chilling ease with which a person could be kidnapped from a crowded shopping center parking lot. In response to the public's fear and outrage, Malaysian authorities took significant steps to prevent such incidents in the future. They increased the number of CCTV cameras throughout the country, boosted security presence in shopping centers, and even designated specific parking spaces for women. These measures were aimed at enhancing safety and reassuring the public that such a tragic event would not happen again. Why do people do such bad things? Ahmad is now in prison for life, but the memories of his victims, like Ahmad and Kenny Ong, remind us of the bright futures taken away. As we learn from these sad events, it's important to stay aware, help those who might need it, and always take care of each other. Stay safe and look out for warning signs in those around you.